Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Welcome back to another episode of the Plum Wild podcast. It's Wednesday, June 12th. I'm Nathan Waddell, and as always, I'm joined in the booth by my best friend, Damian Kiefer.
Good morning, chat.
Man, it's been so long, man. It's been such a long time. Tonight's
I forgot
episode,
how to read.
dude, me too. I forgot how to write notes for podcasts, dude. Tonight's episode is presented by Aaron's Setup Shop, where if you ain't first, you're ass. Aaron has been a longtime friend of mine and Kiefer's, a longtime supporter of the podcast and the streams, and we really appreciate him very much. Big shout out to Aaron Watson for coming on board to sponsor tonight's episode. Like I said, dude, it's been almost a month since our last episode, so we have a lot to catch up on. But first, how are we doing tonight, Keith?
We're not doing too bad. Just finished some tire work. Nathan made me put a shirt on, so I'm still a little upset about that. But we're here, we're alive, and it's race week.
It's race week. Oh boy, dude, it's we've got a lot to cover. We'll get to race week, but lot to cover. Speaking of racing, you've ran, I'd say, probably 2 or 3 races since the last episode, or you've taken the car to the track a couple of times since the last episode.
I haven't raced since the last one.
Yeah. Let's just dive right into that. Everyone has seen, racing is it's a tough sport. It has its ups and downs. Last year you had a really, really strong year.
Incredible year. Honestly.
Year, like for real. And
storybook stuff kind of.
Yeah. I mean, RTJ last year,
numbers.
Jonathan Davenport 2022 type shit. Just in a B
For the
mod.
B mod though. I know it's B mod, but
In a B mod. But yeah, just a really phenomenal season. And then, you started off this year pretty decent, but things have just not really been going your way. Just talk a little bit about how these last couple of weeks have been for you.
well, we jumped 2 race cars in like a total of 3 weeks. And like when I say junked, I mean like that one car is so bad. Junk's not even a good word for it. Like it's worse than junk. But it's part of racing, man. It's why it's like one of the most humbling sports. There's a lot of highs, a lot of lows. It's a lot of work. And sometimes you just got to take a break. And it's kind of like what I did as a driver. We still got another car together, and Dad's been racing that here lately, and he actually got a win not too long ago, which is pretty cool for the
It's
old man.
cool to see old D winning, dude.
It was the second night we had that car out since we got it. It's a GRT. It's an older car. Got the new wrap on it. New wrap looks pretty sweet. The Plum Wild podcast on the quarters.
Yep. That
Pretty hot.
dude. That I'll be honest with you, there's been such a little amount to talk about that I haven't really felt like we've had a reason to do a podcast. But seeing the Plum Wild podcast logo on your car was like, we gotta just keep doing episodes just because it's on the car and like it, it deserves its spot there, right? But you got a new GRT, or not a new to you, a
New to
GRT.
me,
Talk about what happened at Fairbury in Old Blue.
I think we did kind of go over it in one of the podcasts. Did we not? No,
it hasn't.
All
We
right.
haven't talked about it since it's in between
Is
this
it?
and the last episode. Yeah.
So Old Blue and I went up to Fairbury for their B mod race about a month ago. I went out there for hot lap qualifying. First lap, I feel really good. Like this thing's got so much traction.
Much traction.
It was ridiculous how much traction this thing had. I'm talking, and like it steered so beautifully. Like it was going to be a phenomenal race car in the slick, and I I was bricked up, kind of like it's qualifying. So I go in there, lap one, bury it in there in one, and I don't lift. I sorry. Went in there, right rear kind of caught, and in my mind, and how it felt is kind of exactly how you would feel on iRacing, a grip flip, but IRL. And it caught on the right rear, and then my front end dug down real hard, and then my front bumper actually was like went straight in the ground, and I started flipping end over end. I started in the middle of the racetrack, and I ended up on the catch fence. And I just finished taking the car apart yesterday, but steering wheel was moved forward about 3-4 inches, and then my seat on the backside was moved forward about 2 to 3 inches, and it was just really, really nasty wreck. Probably for being in the car, I would say it was probably one of the nastiest modified wrecks I've seen in a long time, and I didn't get to see it, just feeling it. Ended up with a little bit of nerve damage in my elbow, had a concussion, definitely a concussion, and really just killed my energy and kind of made me depressed there for a little bit because, man, as our second race car, it's
Yeah.
tough
No, I
racing and
understand. Yeah.
wanting to compete and just seeing all your hard work that you just completely busted tail at go to pieces. Just
But
sad.
but that's that. I mean, you said it, and we've said it a lot. But that's racing, and what have I always told you whenever you're down a little bit about your racing, your IRL stuff? What have I always told you? Come on.
Winners never quit.
And
Quitters never win.
that's right. And I got that from my dad. Um, and it it's good to take that break to kind of reevaluate and allow yourself some time to like, kind of relight that fire inside of you. Because I know, not from experience per se, but just from talking to you and talking to other racers and talking to a lot of people really over the course of my life that have raced, that it's a grind, right?
It's a serious grind.
and
I've been back at it this week, and
yeah,
it's a grind.
but you love it, and sometimes you need a little bit of a break from it, especially after a little bit of a rough streak, to kind of allow yourself some time to just kind of
revamp, kind of rebuild,
exactly,
rethink everything, go into
yeah.
it smooth brained.
Well,
Or not smooth, not
brain.
smooth brain, but smooth minded,
Yeah,
and just
I don't know
knowing
if
everything.
yeah,
Like, because if after that wreck, if I would have hopped into the GRT, I know the GRT is fine, but I would have hopped into it worried in a way,
yeah,
just because of
which
how nasty it was and
I
how
think
how bad it could have been. Because if I didn't have a collapsible steering shaft, I have a steering wheel that goes into my chest, and
yeah,
like just that
as
a
much
whole
as I would have
realization
loved to
of
have that to
everything is just
happen.
very crazy.
Yeah. No, but like there is a flip side of that, like where the old, get back on the bike after you fall over kind of thing. But I think, you're kind of past that. You don't have to do that at your stage. You kind of needed a little bit of time
Yeah,
to,
because we were hammering it really early in the season, like really
yeah,
hard. And it's like right now, it's about to pick up. Season's about to really get full swing here. Now that the Summer Nationals and the Hell Tour is coming along, we run quite a few of those races. I'll be racing one this weekend, and but no, just we needed to regroup, settle down, get your mind right, make
yep,
sure everything's back to square one, back to standard, start over,
yep.
and rebuild from there, and just kind of
And also like,
forgetting about the old car
yeah,
is
starting
part of it as
starting
well
fresh a little
because
bit, and
yeah.
like I said, relighting that fire, because I know it it can be really tough to see a lot of your hard work just kind of feel like it's wasted. And
Right.
I really feel for you. Like it's got to be tough, but I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I'm happy that you're hitting the track again, and
Yep.
I'm very excited.
I'm a,
I tell you this, I'm getting a little bit tired I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm getting a little bit tired of getting a message at around 8:30. Kiefer flipped. I'm getting a little tired of that. So I need you to work on that this weekend. All right.
Yeah, we had
Don't flip.
3 in a month.
That was
I flipped 3 times a month, which
yeah.
is like last year. I did flip. I flipped once, but it was just a little baby flip,
Little
and
little bloop.
I went. Yeah, like that's all I did. I landed on my roof. I got hit in the left rear, and I just kind of fell on my side, and then landed on the roof. Like I wouldn't call it a flip, but like when I Fairbury last one, now that was like, I guess it scared me.
It scared you
I'll be
little.
honest, a little bit.
I
You just
understand.
like it's
But
well they had to squeeze me out of there. Like that was like
yeah,
I'm a
that's
small
a
dude.
little scary. Yeah.
Like I'm
Well,
a
if you
small
weren't
dude.
so fucking close to your wheel.
That one's different. That seat was actually reclined back because it wasn't like my black car.
Like in a damn F1 car type shit. No,
Well, like how a normal
how
race
normal people
car.
sit, other than
Yeah.
Rico. Yeah,
Yeah, I still
but
like Rico in a modified in a way. Not
but
because I'm short, because I don't like my arms extended like this. I feel like I'm in a recliner. Like when I was driving on Blue, like I still got the job done. And I drove other
well,
cars. No, before that, before that,
depends
not
on what
there.
the job is. If the job is to flip the car, you got the job done.
But like I've drove cars that stick out there. I just don't prefer that. It drives me nuts. I feel so much more in control whenever I have my elbows locked.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of
Like
like
you, like a fighter
in-car
pilot would
cameras.
be.
Like a
You know what
lot
I
of
mean?
people, really prefer the
Locked.
wheel to be pretty close. Your elbows
Yeah.
like this, so that you can kind of like you can bring that elbow up over.
Yeah.
Right.
You just have a
Whereas,
lot more control like this. Where if you're out like this, you don't have a lot of control. You're kind of,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. No,
And
I
it's kind
got
of
you.
like the same with iRacing because I've watched some guys, and
Well,
there's
I'm
nothing
pretty
wrong
far
with it.
back, honestly. I'm
Yeah,
not
like I
like
can't do
out, but
yours.
like I'm here. Like elbows
Yeah,
about like this.
but like I know some guys. Like I have my wheel in front of me. They're like fully extended driving like this. I have no idea how you would do that. Like I would be hot poo poo.
Yeah, but you're back. You're racing this weekend.
I'm
like I
ready
said,
to rip the cush.
winners never quit. Winners never quit. Quitters never win. You're coming back. You recharged. You're revamped, ready to go. Where are you racing at this weekend?
Uh,
Go ahead.
we will be racing at Tri-City Speedway in Granite City, Illinois for the Summer Nationals on Friday night. So you'll be able to tune in on Dirt Vision to catch all the action if you want to. If you don't have Dirt Vision, I'm pretty sure one of your relatives, cousins, sisters, brothers, friends, Pinocchio Chin will have it.
Yeah, sign up
You
on
can come.
dirtvision.com/plumwild. Get you
Like
20%.
I
No,
know,
I'm just kidding. We don't got that, bro.
I know a lot of people don't have a lot, or not a lot of people have Dirt Vision. So like,
I'm gonna get
call,
it just
call
for
your
the
mom, call your
Helltor and the
dad.
race. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll be I on it. Like the plan is to race a few of those, and like I saw Matt George say that Arkansas, like the Arkansas week is like my goal.
Yeah.
I want to get either the GRT or the brand new car, actually new car, will be done either the end of this week or next week. So that's really exciting. But to hopefully have one of these two cars kind of in full form, feeling good, and go race a few of those races and see if we can't run a few top fives, maybe even snag one would be really cool.
I would love to see that. And like Kiefer said, you can watch all of that on Dirt Vision. Cheer him on. Before we move on to the next topic, what were you had something? What were the sunglasses that you had on, man? What was that?
Dude, so these right here, these are my Astros.
The
I wear these all
Astros.
vacation.
The
This
Astros. We went to the beach, and this dude he had the Astros all week, bro,
you're
or all
just
weekend.
jealous. He's jealous of the Astros.
Dude, I'm not jealous. I got the
100%.
Ray-Bans, man. We banning Rays over here, brother.
I got these for $20, and I'm proud.
Okay,
At
well,
Walmart.
my Ray-Bans were free because Hannah got them for me, like, I don't know, 8 years ago. But yeah, beach
You know
trip,
what else
dude.
is free?
What?
Air.
Okay, so we went to the beach. That was a lot of fun. Before that, for anyone that only watches the podcast, doesn't watch my streams, Hannah's back. Hannah's back home. She's back home
Yep.
from her travel nursing contract. It's been great having her back.
The chain has been tightened again. Don't worry. He'll be streaming less now. He'll be talking less now. He's depressed now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh God, no! It's been so great having her back. I've missed her a lot. 3 months went by very quick, but it also felt like a really long time. And it's great to have her back. And so yeah, Hannah's back. But yeah, we went to the beach. Me, Hannah, you, and Mackenzie. We all went to the beach and went to Panama City. And dude, that was a fun trip.
It was fun.
It was very fun.
We
No, go ahead.
Here's the deal, chat. Nathan and I and Mackenzie raced a go-kart race. There was 3 of us.
Oh yeah.
On the track for 30 laps.
I have the video of that actually.
He does have a video. I want you guys to put the order of finish in the chat.
Like we were actually fucking racing.
Who won?
Like we were actually.
Who ran second?
Like we were actually fucking racing. I'll tell you this though. I want to upload the video at some point to Facebook or show it on stream or something at some point because
do those slide jobs.
We were actually having fun. Like so the go-karts. This is there's this track at Panama City that's actually pretty decent go-karts, you would say, for a tourist go-kart track, right, Keith? This place used to be called Indy Speedway. Me and my dad would go there all the time whenever we were at the beach. And then now it's called the Slingshot because it's got that other attraction there that slings you way up in the air, and it's got that other one that loops you around. It's right there near where Club La Vila used to be. And but those go-karts are still there. They're not quite as fast as they used to be, but man, they're a blast. And now they now this is new because they didn't have it last year, but now right behind you, like on the top of the chassis behind your headrest, they have like a little GoPro. And they record it, and you can buy it for $10. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll buy that for $10." So I bought it. I watched the whole thing, dude. Dude, we were having a good time, dude. We were throwing sliders and shit.
Kind of throw it. And then there were some few hilarious moments for like Mackenzie. So yes, she did win the race. We got beat by a girl, chat. We both got beat by a girl.
Mm-hmm. Mike's got it right on the list.
Yeah, but he does. I wish he'd spell my name right, but because it's like right there on the screen.
It's right here. It's like literally right here.
Like right there.
But no, so dude, the cool thing about this go-kart place is I don't know if other places have this, but they can limit you on power with like a remote.
I feel like a lot of places do have that.
Maybe, but this was the first time I ever saw it. Was at this track many years ago, and they would limit you at first, let you get acclimated to the track, and then they'd send you full speed. Well, they limited us to like 50, 75%, and they gave Mackenzie 100%.
The full juice.
Juice.
It was so funny, dude. Okay, so Mackenzie is new to the racing thing. She is my significant other, girlfriend. We share the same bed. We live together. All right.
Yep.
So I've been trying to get her training on this racing mentality. And before this, I told her to just stand on it. That was all I told her. Okay. Turn 1 was a little tight.
You can't really stand it. That's the coolest part about this go-kart track is that it's not just one of them tracks where you can just stand on it all the way around.
No, I mean,
you can.
All you have to do is just drag the brake in that one corner is what I did, and it would rotate real well. That's what I would do in the real car's dragging. But
dragging these
no, nuts. Dude, she would run the bottom on turn 1 because she'd get under Nathan and she'd just stand on it, never lift, and she'd spin out, and go.
It was funny. Oh, it was so funny because
look on her face of just like pure fear, or like, what am I doing wrong? What do I got to do? And it was hilarious.
So they gave us like 75% power. They gave Mackenzie 100% power. She pulls away. We catch her, get around her. They limit us again. She, and then as soon as she goes to pass us in that one turn, I just look and she's like fucking sideways.
Completely sideways.
Oh, it was too funny. That was honestly a lot of fun. I love that go-kart track. Slingshot in Panama City. If you're watching this, keep it up. I love y'all's place. But no, that was I really love those go-karts.
I wanted to go on the actual slingshot.
Fuck that, dude. No, I'm not big
like
on
120 foot in the air. That sounds awesome.
No. But fuck, the video, that was the coolest thing. I'm gonna have to show that on stream at some point. But anyways, dude, drank a lot, dude. I was just talking about it in Discord that we would wake up at like 9 in the morning and go out to the beach and crack open a Corona at like 9 in the morning. Fucking drink, dude. Yeah, just living life. You had and this guy,
a bunch of muffins.
Swear to God,
a bunch of muffins.
If I could marry Kiefer and happy Pride Month, by the way. If I could marry Kiefer, I would, because this guy cooked for us like 3 times.
3 times, yeah, 2 or 3
on
times.
During the beach trip, and I swear to God, Mackenzie is a lucky woman because Kiefer is a chef. I mean, dude.
I love cooking. That's like a little side. Not like
the Dino Nuggies, dude.
I can Nathan. Okay, chat.
Best Dino Nuggies.
Dino Nuggies and mac and cheese. The first night we were there because we wanted something easy and we didn't want to go out. They were probably the best Dino Nuggets Nathan will ever have in his life,
dude.
And they're just regular Dino Nuggets.
Hot honey, Dino Nuggies. Golly, custom.
I literally made
honey,
my own. I made my own hot honey sauce on the stove.
Yep.
Right in front of his eyes, and he watched the bubble.
Yeah, and then the sandwich, dude. The sandwich was good.
Oh, the hot ham and cheese and the hot turkey and cheese.
It was really good. That was so yeah. Mackenzie is a lucky woman. Also, while we were at the beach, we watched The Dream.
We did.
So funny. It was so funny because I told Hannah like a week or 2 before the beach trip, I was like, I'm so excited for the beach. It sucks that me and Keith are going to be watching The Dream the whole time. And she was like, stop. No, you're not. And then sure enough, we're watching The Dream for each night. Yeah, so The Dream.
We did get watch some sunsets while watching The Dream. Yeah, so I feel like we had it pretty good.
Yeah, no. It would have been, I got to be honest, I probably was a little distracted. I was trying to watch The Dream. I wanted to watch, right? But we all knew what was going to happen. You and me were talking.
I literally called it Wednesday or
Thursday.
Before the race.
Yeah.
Before the racing started, and then we both made our picks. What was yours?
So we did an obvious pick, like who do you realistically think is going to win? And I think we both. Yeah, exactly. A realistic and a dark horse. And both of our realistics, I want to say, were Davenport.
I said Davenport because,
yeah, how can you not pick
Davenport? JT at Eldora is crazy.
Yeah. And I was trying to think. I was actually trying to think of it yesterday on stream who my dark horse pick was. Do you remember who my dark horse pick was?
Did I say Alberson?
You did say Alberson, yes.
And then I think you.
Who did I say? I really can't remember. But
it was. I don't remember.
I do recall talking about Brandon Overton and how, and you actually disagreed that.
Oh, I thought he was going to be hot. I didn't think he was going to have a good weekend, but he actually had a really. Yeah,
I was like,
weekend.
That,
and he blew a motor and everything.
Yeah, and I was like, weekend. that Infinity chassis is looking really good. I think Brandon Overton is returning to form a little bit. And that's honestly really good to see. And
he has been on a streak lately.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's still not quite at the level that he was. In say like 2021, 2022, but definitely, well, not even really 2022, but 2021, Overton, that was probably his best year. I think it definitely was his best year with his 3 wins at Eldora. But it's really good to me to see Brandon Overton doing good because I like Brandon Overton a lot.
Yeah, you too.
I swear every time he's in front of a camera with the mic, I love watching his interviews. He always has something funny to say, and that's the personality that I love to see for dirt racing. There's not there's personality. It's not quite as bland as NASCAR, but personality is what attracts fans to drivers. You know, that's kind of what
Right.
how you attach to them because you like their personality. Or
Right.
you know, like I also like Davenport just because I like the way he carries himself. He's like a professional like country guy looking, in my opinion. Like he has a little bit of
He's
like
a
that
rancher.
southern draw. Exactly. He seems
He's
like
a
a rancher,
rancher.
right? And he actually has a ranch. You know, the Dirty Dollars. Des knows what's up with that. But so there's that personality, and all this leading back to like I was just hoping more so to see Brandon Overton doing good, especially in that Infinity chassis back at Eldora, where he's obviously very comfortable. And it was really good to see him run third. But there was just, I mean, there was no denying. Once I saw the lineup for heats.
Well, once I saw the Heat lineup, I told Nathan, I said, "Oh, is Heat 6? It's
Yeah.
right to check.
Even if he's starting fourth, I was like, he's starting fourth in Heat 6 as long as he can get to the, I mean, it's just a matter of him getting to the front in Heat 6. And if he gets to the front in Heat 6, you write the check then, because he's so good, man. It was interesting.
That car he has too.
That's and you know that's
if
a
you notice,
2021
he has it-
Longhorn.
In the course of the last 2 years, JD's
Three.
won almost all the big crown jewels. But he doesn't win the small shows, and that's what JD goes for.
Yeah, I always imagine that it's kind of like
because that's the same car he's won.
Yes,
the other in the 2021, and like just.
But that 2021 Longhorn is only an Eldora car.
Correct. Well, why else would you take it anywhere else?
Yeah, well,
because Brandon Overton did that with. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong.
He did that with the car that he won all the 2021. Yeah,
and then you never get it back.
Right.
Then you're constantly chasing it back again, and you're going and going and going because. Why I was so sad about losing the black car, my black car.
Right, because you had that thing so dialed.
I know how hard it is to get to that point again.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you get you can put a 2022, 2023. Yes, they may look the same, but they're not the same.
And you know what?
I don't care who you are, what your mom is, who your dad is.
You know what?
What uncle made it for you?
I still say to this day, last year's dream race, last year's World 100 with JD in the green and white car, that was with that same car. I still think if he doesn't get into the wall and it kill his spoiler, especially that breakaway part of it, if he doesn't do that, he wins it. Yeah, because obviously Hudson O'Neal was really, really fast there. But I think JD had a lot more left in that car before the spoiler came off or broke right there.
Like, I saw somebody mention, like, do you think Bobby had a chance if there's yellow? No. Have you seen? I know his lap times may have said he was slower at the end, but he was also a little bit in traffic, kind of dealing with that whatever.
He said he was like
6, 7 left. Yeah. But every restart I've ever seen him at Eldora, and he's had a lot of restarts up in the lead. Yeah. I've watched him there at the track. I watched him at home on Flow or whatever. I would say that because I'm like, oh, he's half a second off. Like these guys are gonna get him. No, he just flipped a switch. I'm like, Jesus, where did this come from?
Yeah, he's so good there, and I think a lot of it has to do with how good that car is. One thing that I brought up on my stream yesterday.
Like so smooth. Style.
Whenever
he's so smooth.
In the CFM group chat, we were watching the race and talking in the group chat at the same time, and someone said, "JD running the cut down line. Time to write the check." Like as soon as he starts running that line, the car is perfect.
Line.
I love it. Like, I love that line.
That line is so hot. Like. It would be a dream to even just drive a car that did that.
No pun intended. Right?
Like you know what I mean? Just have a car that does that every lap. That'd be awesome. But
Um,
I'm not
but
saying like how smooth that man is at Eldora and consistent and getting the points and all like being like heat 5, heat 6 all the time.
I wonder. That's
He's
kind of
got
what
it
I
figured
wondered
out.
if
He's got it figured out.
if they've kind of done the math to kind of know what they need to do each night to get in a really good spot. Like they weren't really in a great spot um, for the heat race on Saturday. They weren't technically in a good spot. They were just in the right heat. He was starting fourth in heat 6, but he was in heat 6. Like I wonder if they've
That's the
somehow
heat
done
you
the
want to
math.
be in.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, but one thing I wanted to ask, just curious. I talked about this on the stream yesterday. Is like, how long can JD run that 2021 Longhorn at Eldora? His Eldora car. How long can he run it at Eldora before it is no longer competitive if it doesn't get wrecked? Okay, if it doesn't get wrecked and there isn't a major rule change or like a major development in dirt late model racing. Like, so say dirt late models don't have any crazy rule changes for chassis, shocks, anything like that, and no wreck for the next 15
He only
years.
races at Eldora.
And he only races that chassis at Eldora.
They only really race 2 or 3 times there a year.
Right.
At Eldora, you have the Dream and you have the World and you have the Dirt Track World Championship now that he'll go to. I don't think he's bringing it to the Dirt Track World Championship. I don't think so. But
you know
he's
what
bringing
I
it
think?
to those two. I think he's got another 10 years
on that chassis. That would be crazy. Dude, that's crazy.
Dad just won with the 2014 GRT. I've won a bunch of races with the 2016. That date don't mean a dang thing. I'm telling you.
Listen, Keith.
It
don't
may
take
be
this
new.
the wrong way.
It may be new. It may be new and
fancy,
the wrong way. But that don't mean nothing.
But this is the Dream that we're talking about at Eldora. Okay, don't take this the wrong way. All right, I know that you're running.
He's beating all the new cars, ain't he?
Yes, I know. But
by how much?
6 seconds. I tell you this, talking about the Dirt Track World Championship comment, I think he brings the car with him to the Dirt Track World Championship. He brings the Eldora car with him. But if the track is as rough as it was last year, he unloads the backup for that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it's a good track, why not use your good car? If you're in a position, if you're in the Final Four, if you're in a position to win the Lucas Oil Championship, why not run that car?
Especially like Eldora, man.
Right. So, yeah, no real surprise there with the Dream, with JD winning. Like I said, it was good to see. It was really good to see Bobby Pierce and Overton have round out the podium with the troubles that they had during the week or the weekend. So, yeah, that's our Dream talk for this episode. Now on to some more iRacing stuff. So we just came off of a big season update. It's now 2024 season 3. Not much really changed for dirt. The only change is that tire wear was reduced by 25%, I believe is what it says in the notes. I have only had the pleasure of running, I believe, 3 races now, because we were at the beach and
beach. Let's go get a wave. Okay, stay.
Yeah. So the tire wear, I feel like it is a little bit less. Like, I look at the percentages after the race and they're similar, but it doesn't really feel it. So, and that's kind of the vibe that I've got from other people talking about it. We'll just like the main thing that I care about.
The drop off isn't as bad feel wise with traction,
but I don't really have too much info to go off of with only 3 races. The main concern that I have, especially with the spring fling coming up, which we'll talk about here in a minute, is how does the tire wear really come into play in the 100 lappers? Because we had ran 2 100 lappers, you and I had, right before we went to the beach. And
Some
God,
long races. Long fucking races.
so fucking bad.
I could have cried that one night. I'm pretty sure that 100 lapper lasted an hour and a half.
It was well. You didn't run that 100 lapper. You ran the 100 lapper with me at Eldora. I had ran a 100
Yeah.
lapper at Volusia the night or the maybe 2 nights before, but just not very fun. So hopefully this 25%. Okay, so Davies is saying 25% less drop off with the same percentage of wear. So that makes sense. Hopefully it's
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't know that was Davies. Continue.
yeah. Hopefully, that allows for the 100 lappers to be a little bit better. Speaking of 100 lappers, we have the Spring Fling coming up. There still has not been a date announced or a track. Really, nothing, honestly, has been announced other than the fact that it is happening and that there is, the main sponsor that we had the pleasure of announcing is Schaefer's Oil again. So let's talk just a little bit briefly about the Spring Fling. The two things that I wanted to talk about is where do you think the track will be? Where do you think the Spring Fling will be? And where do you want the Spring Fling to be? So I'll let you go first.
So that Kokomo last year. The year before that was Charlotte. The year before that was Knoxville. I feel like Knoxville, watching it, I haven't raced on it a lot. Haven't really raced a lot. But I feel like Knoxville doesn't race the same as it used to.
No.
Which is kind of very sad.
Oh, yeah, big sad.
I feel like Charlotte's probably one of the better options, just like with what we have racing wise and how wide it is, and
it's okay. It's
okay.
Right now,
Eldora,
it's had
top.
this. Yeah, the problem with Charlotte right now is the same problem it's had since the refresh, is that it just locks down in the middle, really, which is honestly the problem that all tracks have at the moment. So continue on.
Just because I feel like Charlotte takes a long time to get to that point where the other tracks is relatively pretty quick.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there.
On that scenario, or Knoxville's the same way, but it seems like I'm sure Kyle and those guys would think of something that's god awful in my head on how they're going to prep these tracks in order to get these tracks good and racy.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine I'll figure it out, but you're going to be having to do some silly things, I imagine. I really hope the racing's good.
Me too.
Like, that's like, because I could honestly care less if I run 28th. But if I can race 4 or 5 wide and like actually run the bottom or run the top or run the middle, like I know there's gonna be times where that line's faster than the other line or that line, but like I just hate that you run the bottom and you see the grip. I'm looking at it. That's wet. That is wet.
I'm looking at it.
Because when I hit that shit in real life and it looks that color, it's like 800 horsepower.
Right. Straight to the ground.
Yeah, I wish I had that, but it's more like 480 horsepower.
So your hope and your prediction for the spring fling track?
I would like for it to be at the Chili Bowl. I think it's going to be at Charlotte, though.
Okay, so
no, I'm just kidding about the Chili Bowl.
Yeah. If you had to pick, where would you make the? If it was up to you,
I had to pick.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what your hope would be, right? You would hope that it's there because that's your pick, right? So what if you had to
honestly,
pick?
Volusia.
Volusia?
It's terrible, I know, but it actually somewhat like me and JD had a decent race on the opener.
Okay.
I had to drive through the field. I was actually in dead last at one point in time. Ended up 7th, which isn't bad, but me and JD had to grind through the field. And it was actually no, it wasn't. It was actually miserable because I couldn't get by a few guys because the way the racetrack was, but
I want to talk about that here in a minute, but so Volusia is your hope and Charlotte is your prediction. My answer, I honestly, I would love to see it be at Lima Land.
Ew, you're disgusting.
No, let me explain. The racing at Lima Land in the week 11 of the Super Officials last season, so like what, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, was actually
Yeah.
really really good. They went to a small track last year. I don't think Lima Land would be bad. I really don't. I think it
I mean,
could.
I could see some good possibilities there. We should do 150 laps.
um, so Lima Land, I think,
You
obviously,
would just
the
hope,
top.
pray to God the idiots don't show up.
Yeah. They weed themselves out, but the top's going to be good at Lima Land, but I think you could really get the bottom to work there.
Well, now whenever the tracks get slick and they get one lane, I shouldn't say that. They get slick and they get that line right to the middle that almost feels like it's rubbered up. I feel like you could almost get two of those going at Lima Land in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the top and then rolling through that middle. Because like when it gets slick on the top at Lima Land, it is slick.
Yeah.
And you would
Lima
start
Land
that.
slick is a
You
little
would start
different.
that. Yeah, very. Because like you had to be super patient, and then usually that's the only racetrack where the brown on the bottom of the racetrack is brown.
Yeah.
And it grips you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
crazy. It's like the
that's
first
why it was
racetrack they
good.
put on the game. It's like it was like one of the first racetracks put on the
Yep.
game, and then all the new ones don't work. So like I don't know how they messed that, but it's fine. But yes, I do kind of agree in that way. Like I think that is a good pick.
My actual prediction, I have a couple that I have in mind that I could see them going to. I could see them doing Lucas, honestly. It's a little small of a track, but I could see it, being in their discussions.
Wheelhouse, yeah. They did the gobbler there.
Right. And then I think legitimately, probably Charlotte, like you said, but to pick different from you, I wouldn't be surprised to see Port Royal. I think
That's
Port
also
Royal
true.
could be all right, but
You're
those
definitely
are
gonna need fuel for that place.
yeah, those are my
150
picks.
lap.
What did I say I wanted to talk about before that? A couple things that I think really need to be addressed, that I think could really help with the racing on iRacing on dirt. First, why? And I feel like we've already talked about this, but why is it that the tires wear more in the tacky? Why is it? Why is it like that? Let's fix that. Tires should wear more in the slick. Correct, Kiefer? Back me up on this. Tires should wear more in the slick, less in the tacky, give you more of a reason to go up there. If we're not going to fix the fact that it feels like rubber sometimes in the slick.
In the slick to not spin my tires, I should not have that much tire wear. Because I've ran, like I know it's 50 laps. Or even a pro official, that's 30. I ran those, and I've looked at my tires. Now, there's some nights where I'm aggressive on the top or something. You just got to be on a hammer. You're going to eat the tire alive, okay? Just what it is. It's what the track called for. It's what you have to do. But there's some nights when you got rolled that slick. No. If you even touch the gas, you just roast the tire and it's done. Like you have no more tire left.
So
where like in the mud, you wearing tires out just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
'Cause you're on a soft tire usually then, and it's just eating all the time. Now, if you're in a slick on the gas with the soft tire, it's a different story. But yeah, no.
So I think that would help at least give people a reason not to just straight up run.
And it would give it a little bit of a skill gap again.
Yeah. So
you would have more of a broader range of drivers, and I feel like the racing would be better then. Again.
And like I was gonna say, it would give you a reason to not run the fast line, which, as we've seen a lot recently, is just straight through the slick. I mean, I ran one race in the open supers.
If you're entering sideways, like a little sideways in the slick, your right rear's done.
Yeah.
Nah, I shouldn't say done, but
So,
you don't have a good right rear tire. Like you're not Scotch.
So that I think should be addressed, and it hasn't been addressed. Like that's one thing that why the fuck are we wearing the tire more in the tacky than in the slick? And it's been that way since we've had tire wear, which has been a year now. I think that would help a lot. One thing that I wanted to talk about that I've brought up to you before, and I've brought it up with others before, and don't scream at me whenever I say this. Don't yell at me in the comments if you're watching this.
I'm yelling.
I think we should have a little bit, just a little, not as bad as it is in real life. We should have a little bit of dirty air. Just a little. Just a little. I know dirty air is one of the negatives of IRL racing, but if you had
so whenever you catch a leader, you'll never be able to pass them now? That'd be cool.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that's one of the negatives of it, but
I'll just look in my mirror and take the wind off you every time you get close.
that goes to remove the mirrors, right?
Yeah, I don't like the mirrors are terrible.
Right.
That is bad and like
So,
the dirt side.
Give us a little bit of dirty air. That would completely take away train racing, where at Volusia in that 100 lapper,
it would force you to actually travel around.
Yeah, and on top of that, I wrote down some notes. It would keep people in check. Like, you have these 100 lappers, which again, I don't know how it is now with this updated tire wear, but last season we ran that 100 lapper at Eldora, right? And Eldora's a big track, but I was saving so aggressively. If there was dirty air and I was saving that aggressively, I would have went a lap down. You wouldn't be able to save so aggressively. The tire wear would maybe kind of make sense then, right? So it would keep people from saving a ridiculous amount to be there at the end, because you can't save too much or you're going to go a lap down. All right. It would also prevent the leader from being at a disadvantage, because like in these big 100 lappers, you don't really want the lead until late. Like if you're in the lead, you're burning up your tires, really.
If you have a 100 lapper right now, if you're
at a
in
big
the
track,
lead,
at a big track.
a decent sized rate, which most 100 lappers are going to be at, I feel like most of the time.
Yeah.
Like you don't even want to be the leader. You want to be the guy that's at 18th.
Right.
Which is like terrible to say.
It would
and then
prevent
you want to start trying on lap 85.
Right. So it would prevent the leader from being at a disadvantage, because the field would have to push more a little bit to stay on the lead lap, to keep up and not be in dirty air. And like I said, it would force people to not just be in the same line, because you can't.
And you can't really in real life. I mean, you can follow someone like when you're running a cushion, but like whenever you're preparing to pass someone or race with someone, I do what I call, I don't know if this is the correct term. I might be blowing smoke out my butt when I say this, but I say I ghost people whenever I follow them. Is how I explained to my father. Like if they run the bottom, dead on the bottom, I'm entering half a lane higher to maybe not a lane, but half a lane higher, and then you're open to either cutting down, running your line throughout, sliding up, kind of just. That's the way I feel, because every time you fall behind them, I've raced at Eldora, when they take that air off you, it's serious stuff. You go,
yeah. So I mean,
and it makes you have to backpedal at times and be very aware of your surroundings and how you race, because you can't like at Eldora. Like if you're racing, I don't know. I only did it once, so I guess I can't say it like 100%. When I followed someone like dead behind them, like you can't really do that. You had to like trace them, or what I say, ghost them, is just like half a lane below them or half a lane, just to kind of cut the air. Because whenever you're running behind them or they kind of shove up there, it just really kills it.
Yeah,
and you want.
And it takes away a lot of your options too. It takes away a lot of your options for passing.
You have to really think about it. You have to be very smart and intelligent. Okay, this car is going to come up here. I need to back off. I see him slide me. I got to back off. Like no matter what I do here, there's no way I can even drive over it if he doesn't slide me, because the air is going to push me. So I have to back off. And it takes time and experience. Like that's why JD and some of those guys are so good. They've been racing up at Eldora for how long?
Right, and that's why I say. The topic a lot recently in the IRL world with dirt late model racing, especially at Eldora, is the fact that the dirty air is killing the racing. And I'll agree, the dirty air is creating some pretty glaring issues. But dirty air is always going to be the villain, the opposite of good racing. Like, it's always going to be there. We need just a little bit of it. And I've said this before, we have all the positives of dirty air on iRacing. We just don't have any of the negatives. You have a little bit of a draft on iRacing on dirt. If you're going down the straightaways at the big tracks, you can feel it. You can be so much faster than the person in front of you because you're all over them.
It's almost a tenth better. It is almost a tenth better.
And then you get around them, and then they're all over you. It's because of the draft. So we have all the positives of it, but we don't have any of the negatives. So I think maybe experimenting a little bit with some dirty air, just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, if IRL's 100% dirty air, right? Like, you know, IRL's IRL. We could use like 10 to 20% of that on iRacing, just to. I mean, and plus, it's more realistic, right? I mean, it may not be the best thing. You know, you might not like it, but it's a thing IRL. We kind of need it, right? So to be accurate. So that's my TED talk on dirty air. Moving on. So one thing that has developed over the past 2 days, I think, is that easy now. One thing that's developed over the past 2 days is that the pro drivers that had their licenses ripped from them because of this new Pro Series, they got them back. Pro Series drivers got their pro licenses back. And I think what the rumor that I heard, that I don't know if we've talked about on the podcast, the rumor that I've heard is that it's not how we feared it would be, where you had to... you were going to have to run sprint cars and late models in order to make Pro Series. The rumor that I heard is that you just have to pick one, right? And that's because they're going to be run on the same night in the same session, so you can't run both. So guys like J.D. Brown, James Edens, Evan C., Logan Rumsey, probably a couple of more.
Pro Series drivers now.
Yeah, exactly. So... that's the rumor that I've heard. That would also make sense of why they gave them their licenses back. And they're just going to have to make guys like, you know, Evan, Logan, JD. They're going to have to pick, right, which series they want to run. And that's what I really hope is the case, because I didn't want to have to run sprint cars. No offense to my sprint car friends and the sprint car fans of the podcast. It's just not really my thing. So that's the rumor, and also what has happened recently with the pro drivers getting their licenses back. Mike Augustine now can say that he has a pro license. Thank God for him. I don't think he really had anything else going on in life other than being a pro. I mean, there wasn't really much else going on for that guy. So good for him, and good for all the other drivers that got their pro licenses back. So. One thing that I talked about yesterday on stream, and it was I think it might have been brought up by someone in chat, is what about a Plum Wild League or a Plum Wild team, right? Or both.
I like the league deal.
Yeah. It's something that I've thought of.
I want to broadcast this damn thing.
You want a Plum Wild broadcast?
Yeah, there's Plum Wild League, Plum Wild podcast, and I'm making... me and you make the calls, so like, oh, you idiots that are in there, they're watching.
Better watch it, boy. Yeah. I don't know. It's something that I've thought of. I've thought of the league. You know, the thing is, you know, running a league is a lot harder. I do believe running a league is as hard as you want to make it, but it's also harder than people think it is, especially being an admin. So... you know, it's something that I've thought of. It's just not something that I'm sure that I want to do, but it's definitely, let's just say it's definitely a possibility for us to do later on down the road. The team thing, I don't know, man. You know, I started iRacing and then got on CJB, and that helped tremendously. Shout out to Colin Bocus. You know, I, like I've said many, many times before, I don't know if I would be at the level I'm at without him, or at least not yet, or how long it would have taken me. And then, Colin Bocus mentored me so long being on his team, and then we brought you on board, or Apex happened, and then you mentored me for so long. And I mean, I feel like I would really enjoy kind of giving back, and being the mentor and having my own team of drivers that, we've said it so many times, like the practicing iRacing can be really boring, but God, is it so much fun whenever you're with a team and you're in there with your boys, just shooting the shit, fucking making laps. No stress environment. You're just making laps, throwing crazy sliders on each other, learning off of each other. That's whenever it's fun, and that's kind of what I've really been thinking about it a lot, about making a team. And maybe it might happen at some point, but that's kind of what I have to say. And about the team and the league. Would you be interested, Kiefer, in being on a Plum Wild team if there was one? Would you? I don't know if Nick's watching. We could have a little bit of a partnership. You could have a hand in both.
I just have to see what the boss says. No,
it's you don't got to answer now. Not on the pod. That could have been a better question to be asked in private. No.
Sure.
But anyways, let's see. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about? Oh, one question I had that I actually came up with today. So on previous builds, not really sure about now, honestly. But like, say on the new tire model build that we had from like 2021 to 2023, you would have feature setups that, especially for like maybe 50 lappers or 75 lappers or 100 lappers, that like you knew might not be great early, but they would really come alive late, right? Like you could have a setup that, man, that son of a bitch was tight early, but you knew that the track would slick off as the race went on and that thing would come alive late. Like you would be mint late because you had such a tight car. Again, I don't know if that's really the case now. But I was just curious, with you having a hand in both in iRacing and IRL, is that kind of a thing, IRL, where you set your car up for maybe later in the race, or maybe this might be really, really good early and I can get out front, and then it might fade a little bit late, but I'll be out front. Like, is that kind of a thing, especially in the, I know it's a thing in like asphalt and shit, but like, is that a thing in the dirt racing world, IRL?
Yeah, it's totally a thing that goes through like the back of my head at times, where like I'll free up the car, or we'll free up the car quite a significant amount just so I can like rip a wall, and like, or we'll tighten it up, or if I need to run through the middle or on the bottom, we'll free it up, and so I can roll the bottom. And you're doing that. The way I do it is I watch the racetrack all night.
Yep.
All night. That's what I do. Just I watch the racetrack, see how it's changing, where the lines are going, and that is usually determines how I set up my car, or we try to set up the car. We try to go for a line that I think, like, I try to, before we go out there and I sit in that car, I call my shot, or try to say that's the winning racing line, and that's the line that we're gonna have to
call it out, huh?
No, and last year is kind of how we did it. I would go up to Dad. I'm like, man, I think the bottom's going to be good, and we'd set up for the bottom. Like, I'm gonna think we're gonna have to run the cushion tonight. We'd set up for the cushion, and it's just sometimes just what you had to do in order for that circumstances, because you have to adjust constantly, and you have to prepare. Oh, this, because like you'll watch the top sometimes. Like if you're at Adams County, you have to be very, very, have your eyes open, because if that top goes away and you have to go to the bottom, you're going to be way too free and have not have enough drive off because you set up for the top and it's gone after 5 laps. And now you're sitting up there spinning your tires, just rolling around there, putting around, can't go nowhere. When you shouldn't have been paying attention and be like, oh, this racetrack's going to change. And that's how you kind of prepare them 100 lappers. In those bigger races, is just you're trying to prepare yourself for the end game.
Yep.
The moments where you think, because that's what you have to do. Is it's kind of a team. It's a team decision between my father and I and our crew guys. Where we think we're gonna where we think the best possibility is, and
That's kind of what you have to make your calls on. And sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're wrong. It's just kind of part of it, and that's racing.
That's a really solid answer, honestly. I I was curious, honestly, about that because I don't know, it hadn't ever really crossed my mind. And also, like, in the same vein, like, you know, if you know that you've set your car up to perform a certain way, just for a specific scenario, say you know you've set your car up for the end game, right? You've set it up to hopefully be good late.
Yeah. This last 15, 20.
Right. Is it a thing where like you've set it up in the hopes of that, but you go out and very early on you can tell it's not going to get to that point. The car isn't going to get good. It's not going to get there.
Yeah, there's been a few times actually at the Turkey Bowl last year. I ran fourth in it. We were out there pacing, and as soon as I pulled onto the racetrack, I was going because you pull on the backstretch, you go into three. Kicked it into high gear, rolled into three on the throttle, kind of stood on it a little bit, and immediately I knew we were screwed and we were not going to be able to win that race, no matter how good of a car I drove and how perfect it was. And I held on for a long time that race, a long time. But
That
the
was the
whole
one that I
time
was
knew.
at.
No, Springfield, Missouri. It's Turkey
Oh,
Bowl.
okay, my fault. Go ahead.
This is Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
That was that race with Kenny Schrader and all those guys. And yeah, I knew first lap that we were no good. And there's been times where up at Lee County last year when we were racing on the tour, we pulled out there. I started fifth or sixth. And as soon as I pulled out there, you pull on the front straightaway and put it into high gear down the front straightaway. It went to 1 and 2 and swerved it around. And I knew, I was like, we have a winning race car. And there's just like, there's certain moments where you sit in that car, and once you've been in it long enough, you'll be able to feel it. Oh, we're going to be good. And you'll be able to, there's times too, you go in there after you adjusted it, going to have to run the top tonight. Or, man, I'm a
Okay.
little tight. I have to run a slider line. I'm not going to be able to enter on the wall. And you kind of have to flow with it. And that's where the driving aspect is like kind of tough because you're making these changes. You don't know if that's going to work or not. You know me, you know what I mean? And then sometimes it doesn't work and you still have to adapt, and then you're changing after that. And then
All
your
right.
dad's yelling at you, "Why'd you run the top that whole race?" And I said, "Well, if I ran the bottom, I'd have spun out and I never went anywhere. Had no traction."
All right, I got another question for you then. All right. So, has the car ever surprised you mid-race? Have you ever felt like it doesn't really feel all that good right now early, and then it surprised you by
Yeah.
getting good?
Yes, and it did. I actually won a race against, that was at Kenny Schrader last year. He led like the first 15 laps of the 25 lap race, and I started sixth, I believe, and about lap 15, we had a yellow, and I was in second. And I really didn't feel that good. I really did not. Like, I was like, I don't think we have a winning race car, but I might be able to battle with them and like possibly pass him. But I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold on to it because I wasn't that good, or I didn't feel that good. And then on that yellow, I was kind of still keeping my tires warm, scrubbing around. Uh, that's where some people go down in the mud. That's not the good thing to do. Do not cool your tires down because you just seal them over, goofball. So because you don't want to get them too hot, but you don't want to get them cold.
Right.
So you have to keep them there. And I just kept making sure because I could kind of feel that right rear. I went on a hard tire. So the hard tire, that's where you really can feel it change. So after 15, I kept scrubbing it. And finally on that restart, I felt it and it went, and it stuck because it wasn't stuck. It wasn't like
It wasn't sticking before, like
the
not
first
full
15
sticking.
laps. It felt like I felt like the tire, I just couldn't get it up to temperature, or like it just felt weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got it warm on that restart. I was like, oh, this thing's gonna be pretty good. And we had a Delaware double file. I picked the inside. I go off into 1 and 2. I throw a Hail Mary slide job. I never lift. Throw it in there, cleared them by a good amount. And took the lead, checked out. Right rear tire is the best. But like the first 15 laps, I felt like I was on ice skates
Huh.
in a way. Like Not like
Okay.
ice skates, but I was probably 3/4 throttle. Then I went to 7/8 coming off.
Hey, so I mean that's good information. Like that's
But
really
that's a hard
that's good
tire.
insight. Well, that's good insight though, just about the IRL stuff because I don't know anything about either honestly, but I was curious about those kind of situations of the IRL setups and how they
The
come
hard
alive
tire
or,
is like is probably one of the biggest ones where it's like that,
yeah.
where you have to wait in order to get it going because it's just harder. It takes longer to get it warm and flexible again, and just apply like everything's flowing.
Right.
Where that soft tire is ready to dig right out of the box.
Ready to dig. All right. So, all right. Well, we're gonna get ready for the Plum Wild Moment of the Week, presented by Aaron's Setup Shop. Are you ready for this, Keith? We're gonna watch a clip that I haven't seen before, that you haven't seen before. We're gonna be right back with our Plum Wild Moment of the Week, presented by Aaron's Setup Shop. So we got our Plum Wild Moment of the Week. It's the video posted by Bo, the go-kart video. It's the vertical video. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's watch this. Some go-kart action at a little small track.
This looks fun though.
Oh, it looks like a blast.
Somebody's sending it on the coach.
Somebody needs to, bro. Get up there.
Yeah, somebody needs to be a man. Get up on there.
Get up on the wheel.
I see old Bo digging through the field. If he doesn't pass this dude on the top, I'm gonna be upset.
Oh boy, I'm waiting for. Oh shit! Oh my god!
Wait, the steering wheel fell off. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh my god! The wheel fell off or came off.
He drove the wheels off of it, dude.
Dude, he's holding that thing out like, oh shit! Look at him. Oh my god, that's got to be a scary feeling right there. Jesus Christ, dude.
That's
wow.
awesome. Dad said that's actually happened to him once before in the big car.
Whew.
And he had to grab it with his hand, the shaft.
Dude, that is definitely Plum Wild. That's your Plum Wild Moment of the Week, presented by Aaron's Setup Shop. Kiefer, you got anything else for us on this week's episode of the Plum Wild podcast?
I'm reading a book.
Oh,
which is weird, chat.
To be honest, I didn't know you knew how to read.
Life's weird.
Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss.
It's actually pretty good. It's Roman Emperor. That's what. It's about it. I forget his name.
Yeah. Obviously, you're not reading it then.
I don't. Have you read some of the like Roman names?
No, I haven't.
I can't even pronounce half the words in the book.
Can't even read half the words in the book. You got anything else for real?
No. I just hope all is well with you guys. It's good to be back. Hopefully, we can get back in routine and get the Plum Ball podcast car up front again on IRL scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're racing this weekend. One more quick shout out where they can watch.
We will be racing at Tri-City Speedway Friday night. You'll be able to check it out on Dirt Vision. We'll be racing with the Summer Nationals Hill Tour. They're racing 10,000 to win, late models, A mods. I'll be in the B mod class. Looking pretty. Hopefully put on a show.
Absolutely. You want to send us off with a front flip, or are you feeling it today? Were you hoping that I didn't bring it up?
No, I was actually kind of preparing for it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, what do you think of this shirt? I haven't worn this shirt ever.
Cheers to the shirt, chat. Cheers to the shirt.
I was also in my office fit, so like you guys couldn't see the bottom half because these are my shop shorts.
All right, don't forget to take the headphones off before you do the front flip, and move the chair. All right, this is a classic, folks. Been doing this for quite a while now. Here we go. He's got to get a little run and go. Here we go. Big jump. Not a bad front flip. Not a bad one at all. And then he's got to show off with the flying V there. Oh, dude, he wants to be naked, man. We can't have that. Not on. We gotta tone down the Plum Wild a little bit. You know, we can't get that Plum Wild. Oh man. All right. All right, well, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Plum Wild Podcast. Thanks again to Aaron Watson over at Aaron's Setup Shop for sponsoring this week's episode and Moment of the Week. Remember, if you ain't first, you're ass. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode. For myself and Damian Kiefer, we'll see you right back here in the next one.